Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Living Astrology with Janet Hickox. Grab your cup of coffee or your tea, sit back, and let's chat about what is up in the stars above for not only today, but let's take a look at the week ahead. I hope all of you are doing well. I missed being with you on Friday, and yet I had a fabulous weekend up in the mountains with my grandson, Wyatt, and my son, Brian and Wesley, and my husband, Terry. I was the only feminine energy in the whole gang, with the exception of Mother Nature herself, which she was kicking up a fuss. We had snow, we had temperatures that fell below freezing, and it was amazing, and it was beautiful. And guess what else? I had to overcome a major fear while I was up there. When I was a wee little girl, like maybe 5 years old, 4 years old, something like that, my family had taken us up to the mountains of Southern California for Christmas. We were going to stay in a cabin up there. And at some point, our car slid, and the front end of it, the front wheels were hanging out over a cliff, and the cliff was very steep. And I don't know if any of you have ever been in the Southern California mountains, but they're very rugged. And there's very many deep canyons that you can fall into. And I was scared to death because we are, up high. I can see way down, and they won't let me out of the car. They won't let me out of the car. So I'm afraid that I'm going to go falling over this cliff. And I'm only 5 years old or so I don't understand. And that has stuck with me all my life. So when I get up driving into the snow, or when I'm driving on roads that look like there's a steep drop off, it scares the bejesus out of me. And I was pretty scared with this because, number one, we're pulling a trailer up a hill on a forest road with steep drops on one side, not the other side. And so my son cracks me up. He kept saying, "Mom, I'm Allstate." And I'm like, "What do you mean you're Allstate?" He's like, "You're in good hands with Allstate." I went, "Oh, okay. So I'm in good hands because he's a good driver." So I ended up getting through that, even going down yesterday morning through the icy snow, because it was not just snow, it was 15 degrees. And so it was really frozen hard, but I did it, and I didn't fall over a cliff. Amazing, right? So we can get through our fears when we give ourselves the opportunity to do so and not run. And I mean, literally at first on Saturday, I was thinking about leaving Sunday morning, and I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe I could walk down and meet them down at the bottom. I mean, literally, I was making plans on how to get out of dealing with the fear, but I was so happy I ended up dealing with the fear, and we got down the side of the mountain. And yes, had a great time, saw lots of beauty, and just had a great time hanging out together. So it was wonderful. And coming home today, or I came home late last night, but this morning I was thinking, now where's that moon at? And I felt like I was in this dreamy place. I didn't really want to get out of bed, but I ended up getting out of bed and realizing, the moon is in Pisces. Of course it is, right? The moon is in Pisces today. And it means that we are in imagination energy. We are in creative energy. We're in very much that space of, I call it the primordial chaos sometimes, where there's just all of this stuff going around that you can choose to create from. And yet sometimes it's hard to pick because there's just so much around us. And because the planet that rules Pisces is Neptune, there's some disclarity about what's going on. It's not easy to see exactly what it is that we need to do or where we need to go. Even though you may think you have plans about what is going on in your day, expect those plans to be disrupted, because not only are we with the moon in Pisces, but the moon is in a sextile to Uranus, which means an ease and a flow of some of that surprising things, the surprising energies. So things that you don't expect them, right? Expect that your day might go sideways when it's supposed to go forward. Expect that things may just not work out. Not that they will be bad surprises at all. Sometimes it can be really wonderful things that just seemingly come out of nowhere that shock you or change up the energy of the day. So I want to take a look here and say good morning personally to people. Good morning, Andy Girl and Allison D. And Ingrid, good morning and happy Monday, she says. Christine Buckingham, good morning. Asa, hello there. Kathleen Mallory, good morning. And thank you, Kathleen. Joshua, good morning to you. Pauline Blenner, hello. Mimi, good morning. Joshua says, ha ha. Jennifer Peachy, good morning. Today has been quite a day already. I've been waiting to hear if anything is going to explain it. I hope it's good stuff going on, Jennifer. Certainly with Uranus in the gig today, all different kinds of things could be going on. I mean, my morning started out slow and sleepy. I got ready to go. And then my husband was like, oh my gosh, I've got to get my bank card. What do they call it? You got to get a PIN number attached to it. And we couldn't do it because he couldn't remember his old one. And it was just this whirlwind of things that happened. And he was getting mad. I said, okay, wait, just let me do this. So I tried to deal with it. I couldn't. The banks aren't open enough yet to really be able to talk to someone. So there's craziness. Yes, indeed, there's craziness. And yet there are no real big aspects or transits going on for the day. There are maybe some of the ones left over from the weekend. But of course, the moon in Pisces with Neptune involved does make things sometimes unclear. We don't know what the heck is going on. So let's talk a bit about what the moon in Pisces represents and what it has rulership over, if you will. And then we'll take a look at the week ahead as far as the transits that are coming up for the week. And then we'll take a look at the Pleiadian-Earth energy. And then maybe, just maybe, if we have some time, because this is not going to take me a whole lot of time today, we could do a couple of card readings since we didn't get to do much of that last week. So let's take a look. Imagination, ruled by the moon in Pisces. And with imagination comes fantasy. With imagination comes that sleepiness where, by the way, I had a dream that something was revealed to me like a spiritual superpower. Only I can't remember what it is. I can't remember what it is, but I remember it being revealed. So interesting, right? Where you get that, she said, what? And you're like, I don't know, I didn't hear it all. So that kind of a day. But out of that chaos, often with you sit back and just relax, you will be able to come back to that missing piece of the conversation or that missing superpower in my case that I didn't get to. Because today is also a day where the moon is in a sign that takes us to trusting and surrendering, sort of that trust in a higher power, trust in our higher selves, and our spiritual awareness. The moon in Pisces also brings us back very powerfully to our intuition, to our psychic awareness, if you will, and our ability to gain unconditional love. This is an energy of surrender and trust in a higher power, as well as tolerance and acceptance of everyone. This is about oneness and unity and compassion. So anything to do with unconditional love comes through Pisces. Spiritual healing as well as spiritual awareness. So spiritual healing through meditation, through yoga, through journaling, through any means, even if it's kind of a hypnosis like past life regression or hypnosis in a healing setting, quiet time, right? Being able to just, sit and be in the silence, desire for peace, all of that coming through the sign of Pisces. As well, Pisces rules everything to do with inner joy, bliss, ecstasy, just the joy of being happy, right? I always try to say this to people because I think sometimes we forget. We think that that joy or inner happiness is something that comes from outside of us. In other words, we sort of relegate it to the emotional realm. And joy and peace and all of that, they're not emotions. They don't reside on the emotional center in your human design. They actually sit with the sacral, with the root center. So they're format energies. So the energy of joy and inner happiness is something that comes from within you. It's all packed within. It's not something that the outer world gives you. It's not something that you can go searching for in the outer world and find it. There is no true pursuit of happiness, as it were, because it's within you. at least not the way that we go looking for it. Typically, we're looking for happiness outside of ourselves through some toy, through some job, through some relationship. But when we realize that happiness truly resides within, that even in the most stressful of times, even in the most dire of circumstances, it's up to us to find it within, right? Nothing outside of us can really disturb our inner peace unless we allow it to. Now, having said that, I know that, of course, things disturb our inner peace all the time. But truly, it's not something that you can go chasing after in the outer world. It might model it to you, it might show it to you, and you might think that these certain things bring you happiness. But the true sense of joy and bliss is an inner job. It's an inside job, if you will. And it comes from our recognition that in any moment, how I choose to respond to something drives what emotion that I'm actually going to feel. Am I going to choose to feel happiness? Am I going to, despite, what's happening outside, or am I going to choose to get angry and upset or confrontational or all of those other more negative anger issues? Now, it's not to say that we don't have times, anger is as authentic as peace. And that's something we also need to remember. But we also have to remember that we can always come back to that inner peace. Pisces energy reminds us of that. All right, psychic sensitivity, emotional sensitivity as well. So we are hypersensitive sometimes during the moon's transit through Pisces. We may feel like we pick up on what people are thinking or saying or their meaning when they may not say or mean anything near what you think, but you're picking up maybe an emotional energy from the outer world, maybe from the collective, maybe from someone in your family, maybe even just a slant that you have about that person that makes you easily believe that they're saying something that they don't mean, or that they're meaning something that they're not saying. So always having to be aware of your ability to stay emotionally sensitive, to be emotionally sensitive, and also harmlessness, a word I have not used. I found this word this morning as I was looking through my new moon astrology book, and because the new moon tells about the moon itself as well. And harmlessness, right? That's a Pisces gift, harmlessness, meaning we're not out there to harm one another. We're, trying to walk softly and to be with one another with as peaceful of an intent as we can have. And of course, mystical states also ruled by the moon in Pisces. So getting into that space of true mysticism, highly likely possible during this period of time. Okay, let's see what else is going on out here. Elisa, good morning. Amy, good morning. Amy Energy, that is. And Amy D says, I have already had a shocker. I hope it was a good shocker, although by the little emoji that you're using, I'm guessing it might have been a shock that you didn't expect. And maybe not such a good one, but I wouldn't worry about it, because good shocks can come too. And remember, everybody, and I cannot stress this enough, that for the foreseeable future, I think it was up until December 14th or 15th, 14th, because it was with the solar eclipse, that the planet Mars in retrograde is sitting at the gate 51 in our human design, which is the gate of shock. And it's a shock that's an initiation into a new way of being. And by the way, when we look at a human design chart, let me share a chart right now. And where did I put that? Oh, yes. Just 1 minute here while I pull that up, because I want to show it to you, because we're also entering a new human design week. We did that actually yesterday, but since I wasn't with you yesterday, I'll have to show it to you today. There we go. So now you should be seeing a human design chart. And I wanted to show you that here's the gate 51. It sits on the ego center. And it's interesting that, shock and initiation is part of the ego. Well, why? Well, this is called the heart center or the ego center. And it is separate from our soul at this point in our life path trajectory, our human life path trajectory, our human evolution, let's say. And so the initiation or the shock of the gate 51 pulls us back together, right? It pulls the ego into the soul, or if maybe the two parts of the heart, if you will. And in this case, what it joins together with is the gate 25. the gate of universal love. So shocks will often come in a way to show you, initiate you into a higher way of being with spirit. So, and it will often expose to you where things have been out of balance, where you have to start down a new path, and or where things need to change. So for example, often, and this particular center is actually the ruler of the heart in the body. So you can imagine things to do with the heart. So high blood pressure, heart attacks, heart palpitations, stroke, all those kinds of things, physical things can happen when the heart is way out of balance. And so the shock here, perhaps of a heart attack or some kind of other healing crisis, can be the part that brings us back to living from our soul center. So, but before we get to that kind of, large shock, often the universe has attempted to get our attention in another way. But, we kind of are a stubborn species, and we often ignore what's happening, even though our inner voice is screaming, slow down, you're going too fast, you need some rest. We ignore it because we're in a very productive oriented world. So we keep going and we keep going and we keep going, even though our bodies are telling us that we need to slow down. So then another kind of shock will happen to keep us in that slow down position for a while, so we can get clear, so we can get back on track, so we can come to peace, and or at least come to some form of restful state. So often the shocks in our lives, whether they be little itty bitty shocks or those big kind of shocks, are really a call to get back into alignment with universal love. So there we have it, right? That's the channel right there. Now, if we go back for a minute to our Pisces moon, we didn't talk about necessarily the negative end of it yet, right? We talked about all the spiritual high stuff, the imagination, the creativity, etc. But in the lower vibration, what we have is victim mentality. And victim mentality with defeatist attitudes, perhaps panic attacks, anxiety, procrastination. Let's put off till tomorrow what we don't want to do today. Addictions and disappointments and blame and shame and all of that are also part of that Pisces realm that are also brought up to us with the gate 51 with shock, right? Sometimes it's that place where we realize we've been the victim. We've been playing the role of the victim, so we get to rise above the victim status. Now, this week, as we go on, we have the sun in the gate 28, and we have the earth at the gate 27. So the gate 28 is right down here. It is the gate that Richard Rudd calls purposelessness in the shadow, and it is totality in the gift, and it is, hold on, I'll tell you. It is, what gate am I looking at? 28. Oh yeah, immortality in the highest expression in the Siddhi. And in this particular gate hides the fear of death and dying, and then realizing that all of this was all for naught, right? That all of the struggle, which is at the opposite end, the gate 38 is the gate of struggle. It's hanging. So this gate isn't defined right now by any of the planets. But in your own chart, the gate 38 might be defined. And now with struggle joins in with the fear of nothing has any meaning, that this was all purposeless. And so this particular channel teaches us about coming to an awareness of what the right thing is for us to struggle with or to fight for. So choosing your battles wisely, so to speak. In one of the classes that I took with Karen, this was years ago, Karen Parker, she talks about, the tribe that lives, in a tribal sort of commune, right? And one guy in the tribe decides to go off and live on his own, but he doesn't have the support of the tribe. So he's on his own, and he's becoming very, he's struggling, right? He's struggling to be alone. And so he becomes very creative in how he puts things together, and he fashions himself, with a stick. He ties on a boulder or a rock, and he uses it to be able to hammer, and a hammer is born, right? Well, Joe's brother comes over and visits with Joe, and he sees that his brother's using this really cool tool and takes it back to the tribe. So when struggle occurs and we come up with a way to overcome the struggle, and then we carry it back to the tribe, the community, the country, the world, then it becomes a mutation that occurs within the tribe that makes life easier, right? It becomes a mutation born out of struggle and finds purpose, right? We find purpose and meaning from whatever it was we've been struggling with as it comes over and meets the gate 28. But the fear is that that all of the fights, all of the struggles, all of the hardships are going to be that in the end we die. And what was it all for? Right? In the end, we die. So why is it that we, even come to the planet and struggle, have children, only so they can, bite us in the butt and call us names and walk away from us, and then we die, right? What is all that about? So this particular channel might trigger that for all of us this week, where we might feel like we're going to die. Yesterday, I certainly had to face that fear, and or that there is no real purpose. So the way through finding yourself in a state of purposelessness is to dive in with totality, right? To be all in and make every moment as juicy as the next. And even if it's not something that you're particularly fond of being in, like I can imagine sitting in the dentist chair and me thinking I could be anywhere but here. But if you are in your body and aware of the experience that you're having, then it becomes totality. And it's not about purposelessness, right? It's not about the struggle. So it is an interesting week, to be sure, when we're looking at the gate of struggle. Now, the Earth is going to be at the gate 27, and you can see that forms this whole channel that last week we had the sun sitting at the gate 50. And we had nothing sitting at the gate 27, but now we have Mercury at the gate 50, and we have the Earth at gate 27. So there's a part of us that feels very sharing, giving, and nurturing, selfless this particular week. So even though we might have the struggles and the battles that are going on, there's still a very big part of us that feels very much like we want to give back, that we want to be able to be that humanitarian. So the gate 27 herself is a gate that's on the feminine side of the tribal circuitry that we talked about. And it's the gate of cooking and nurturing and feeding and clothing and teaching. It's very much a teaching gate. We want to teach you the values of the tribe. We want to teach you the laws of the land. We want to teach you to read and write and support yourself, and how to feed yourself and clothe yourself and all of that good stuff, right? So that you become a fully engaged human being that can go out and procreate, which is where it goes next over here to the procreation side, the masculine side of the energy, and can, wash, rinse, and repeat, right? Teach your children, your progeny, and then they can grow up to reproduce and so on. It's the biological imperative, but the biological imperative doesn't come first. What comes first is the nurturing, the rules, the regulations, the things that you want to live by, the values, etc., of the tribe. So that's all defined in this particular week. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing this one, and I'm going to bring up the other graphic for our human design week. Okay, so it's that one, and share. There we go. So week 5, can you believe it? We're almost through October. Week 5, overcoming the fear of death through nurturing and giving. So we actually began this energy yesterday, and it goes through the 30th of the month. So the last day of the month is in really the first week of November. So we'll talk about that on Friday, about where we go into the first week of November. So we see the sun at gate 28 struggle. It's time to intuit. What will make you feel alive and on purpose, and engage that energy, right? Because that's how we overcome purposelessness with totality. So we're walking the path of purposelessness to immortality, being total via totality, right? Being all in in every moment, in every experience, seeing how alive we all are, and how wonderful it is to have the ability to make choices and to live in this particular earth realm. And the earth, of course, at the gate 27 is a gate of nurturing. So we're building up and nurturing the weakest links in an altruistic way, right? Because we're only as strong as the weakest links. So we have to make sure that our weak links are cared for. Otherwise, they become the holes in our armor, the chinks in our armor. They become the place where weakness can happen, where we are not sustainable, right? So when we talk about this on a social scale, for example, we're talking about taking care of who? The poor, the children, the infirm, the elderly, and they're the weakest links in a society. So we have to build them up as equally as we do anybody else, because otherwise they become the target for the unsustainable nature of the society. So any society who ignores taking care of the younger or the older or the weakest links, then they are risking the very survival of the entire tribe. So we get this feeling here that we are all one, and that what happens to me happens to you, or that what's happening to you, whatever state or condition you're in, has an effect on me. So we are in this boat together, right? And it helps when we are all working together. We're valuing every human life, every life on the planet, every seed, every tree, every rock, and we work together to keep this in a harmony, or we work to keep this in beauty or sustainable, so that our progeny can go on to reproduce, or that the society becomes strong. Even if it has a weak link, there are the, what would you call them, safety nets perhaps, to keep the weak from falling through all of the cracks. And even when we're being really good at that, sometimes it still happens. But by nature, we are nurturing creatures. So in this particular week, the earth reminds us of that nurturing nature, and that whatever the struggle is to make sure that everybody's fed, housed, clothed, it's real and it is purposeful. It has a purpose, and that's a totality thing, right? Going all in. And the siddhi in the earth this week is selflessness, right? Selflessness. Our true path from selfishness to selflessness occurs through altruism, or a giving back, a humanitarian sort of energy. All right. Questions? How's everybody doing out there? It's silent over here in my house. It's very quiet. Kathleen says, it's been a dreamy morning, journaling about questions after reading with Janet recently. Kathleen, good job. I have hanging gate at 25. So that means right now, Kathleen, if you have a hanging gate at 25, I also have the hanging gate at 25. Then the gate 51, with Mars there, is now completing that whole channel of initiation. So what are you being initiated into right now? That's the question, right? Passion Moku, good morning. It's good to see you. And Kathleen says she also has hanging gate 38. So now that whole channel is completed as well. Finding purpose and meaning. Ursula, good morning. Augustina, good morning. Great to see you. And Kathleen says, I'm so grateful I found my way here. To all of you. I love it. You know who we're missing this morning? J-Lo. I hope she's okay. I haven't seen her. And I hope everything is okay with the YouTube channel this morning. Things didn't seem out of whack, but I'm seeing names that are missing as well this morning. So not sure what's going on, but it is a sleepy morning. Perhaps people are sleeping in. I certainly wanted to. Okay, so Asa, I know you're out there, so if anybody has questions, please feel free to text them to me while I go into what does a week ahead look like, because the week ahead is quiet. It's quiet. It's almost like, I mean, it's not that there's nothing going on, because that's never the case, but it's a quiet week. And it's almost like as we're headed into this blue moon, the blue moon is the second full moon in a month. And on Halloween, the 31st, we have a full moon, blue moon. And it's almost like we're being quiet now because that moon is a crazy moon. It has a lot of attachments, which we're going to talk about as we get further into the week. But you may already be feeling those kinds of things, right? The stirring of the pot, if you will, of things that are going to show up that you need to let go of things that you may want to, that of revelations, of wake ups, right? All of that can be happening now because we're in the lead up or the run up to that full moon. And we're past the last quarter, right? We passed the first quarter moon. That happened on Friday or Saturday, where the sun and the moon came into a square. We had our first crisis point, the crisis of action, like what things are in my way now and how do I deal with that? Now, of course, we're past that. So now we're coming down that home stretch to the revelation, the aha, oh my gosh, the completion, the letting go of, so that we can complete our pathway from the new moon that occurred, 2 weeks ago now, almost 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, and will be, it was in Libra, right? So we had the new moon in Libra. So what were we building in our relationships? What were we looking forward to? What did you want to manifest? What were you putting out to the universe as to what it was that you wanted to build as it related to your work, perhaps, or your business relationships, or your love relationships, love and romance. All right. So that's looking at the back energy, like the big energy for the week. Today we have no other transits that I'm aware of. There might be minor things that are just kind of scritchy and itchy in the background. Tomorrow, however, and this is something you may be feeling today as well, the planet Mercury in retrograde is now back toward 0 degrees of Scorpio. Tomorrow we'll backtrack into the sign of Libra. Again, maybe helping us focus on what were those things that we set out to do with our new moon intentions earlier in the month. I think that was on October 2nd or 1st. No, that was the full moon. So October 16th was the new moon. And so taking us back a bit, back to that Libra territory. And then 4 minutes after Mercury retrogrades back into Libra, Venus will move forward out of Virgo and into Libra, a sign she's very comfortable in. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow. But Venus in Libra focuses us on our relationships, on love and balancing, harmony, harmonizing, getting along, diplomacy. We're probably going to need that in this run up to the last week before the election. Wednesday, there's no particular transits. On Thursday, the moon will be in Aries, and we're going to feel that uptick of that moon in a conjunction to Mars, where there could be some kind of confrontation or conflict energy. Later in the day, the moon will square Jupiter and Pluto from Aries to Capricorn. This is not new. We've been dealing with this now for over a year, that every month we're hitting the square from Aries to Capricorn, the Capricorn bunch, and from Cancer, we're hitting the opposition to the Capricorn bunch. And when the moon moves through Libra, we're hitting the square to the Capricorn bunch. So not new, right? We should be in this whole gig of rebuilding at this point in time of our lives, of our relationships, of our businesses, etc., of finances, etc., all the way along our bodies. So that's Thursday. Friday, the moon will then square Saturn. And that's always a day where things feel a little lower energy, where we might feel a little more melancholic, looking within, right? And of course, that'll happen the day before the full moon, blue moon, where, maybe we're looking inward a little bit before we get to the full moon's bright light and whatever it is that it reveals to us during that period of time. And then did I even look ahead to Sunday? Sunday, I would have had to actually get out November's and I didn't. So we'll have to look ahead to November. By the way, if you're listening and you are part of the membership, tomorrow afternoon at noon is our look ahead through the webinar of November at what is happening. And I'm sure November is going to be a thrill ride. And as December will as well, right? We knew this quarter of the year was going to be highly energetic and life-changing, possibly for a lot of us internally, with retrograde Mercury, retrograde Mars, pulling us inward to get aligned. And then later in December, able then to move, or November, moving forward. Again, both Mercury and Mars will change to forward motion. So we have November as sort of the teeter-totter month where we're inward and then also looking again forward to what comes next. All right, now 10 transcending is the day for the Pleiadian calendar in our spiral of consciousness. 10 is the number of manifestation. And there's always a cautionary tale when we get to the 10th day about making sure that what your focus is on is what you truly desire, because otherwise you may inadvertently be creating exactly what you don't want instead of what you do want. So being aware of that possibility. So if you are in, in a negative mindset or a low, space, you're going to have to take some care in what it is that you're focusing your thoughts on, because you can just keep generating more of what you don't want instead of what you truly do want. So if you want peace, you're not going to get there by creating an argument or being involved in a conflict. True peace would come from releasing any attachment to what's going on with that conflict and just staying in the sign of peace or in the space of peace. We are on a transcending day. So today is a great day before we get to the full moon even, yay, to let go of what no longer serves us. In the Mayan calendar, this was Kimi energy, and it was often represented by the skull or the death mask, sometimes by a vulture picking the bones, right, of, letting go, right, sending it off somewhere else. So letting go of what no longer serves to make room for what you truly want or what you truly desire or what's true for you instead of what's not true for you. So today's that kind of a day. So manifesting, transcending day. So there you have that. All right. That is it. Pretty easy. What time do we have here? 8:36. Wow. That's pretty quick. Let me take a look, see if there are questions. Does anybody want to take me in a certain direction, flowing with questions or information they need? Let's see. Ferdeus Dusa, good morning. Hello, hello. It's great to see you. Pauline says, had to resubscribe to all my subscriptions. I'm not sure why that. Maybe did you get a new phone or something like that? I'm not sure. Augustina says, Janet, I was wondering, I know you talked about the houses and wanted to watch this weekend, but could not find first house or third house. Those are still pending, or I missed them when looking. I know they're there because we did do them and I remember seeing them. I can go back for you and find them. How can I make sure you get them, Augustina? Let me see here. I know. I will post them on the, did you go and join the Living Astrology community page, Augustina? Because I can post them there. So it was the first house and the third house. Okay. And maybe I'll post it on the Living Astrology regular page as well. That way you can find it in two places. Okay. Good one. Kamal, good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. He says, Asa says, I will find the links for you. Oh, thank you, Asa. That's awesome. And Augustina says, oh, that would be great. Oh, thank you, Asa. You are such a doll. Thank you. Especially since I have a lot to do today. Ursula says, please pull an animal card for us this week for everyone. We could use the guidance. Let's do so. And Asa, if you are still out there, if there are people who would like to have a card reading, I'm open to doing that this morning, which is kind of different. Maybe I'll even, no, that was last week's. Okay. So let's pull a card for the collective. So this is an animal spirit card, and I love this deck. And this is a deck by Colette Baron Reed. Here's what the box looks like. Right, the Spirit Animal Oracle. And let's see what our card is for the week. I can already feel it. Ooh, it's Bee Spirit. Bee Spirit says, sweet results await. It's card number 7. And it's bee as opposed to wasp. right? Be spirit. And it was right side up. So that sounds like a good one, right? B, it was often related to abundance. And it says sweet results await. So that's pretty good. And it says, it's Bobcat, not B. Here we go. B. The bee spirit's message is that sweet rewards are on their way if you are willing to get your ego out of the way and immerse yourself in the connected energy of all things. Bee spirit knows not to let a sense of being separate. Bee spirit knows not to let a sense of being a separate self get in the way of a good thing. Spirit is always producing honey. Miracles and magic are everywhere. When you connect with the great hive, you are vibrating and buzzing in exquisite harmony with all. Bee Spirit asks that your focus be on connectivity. Your body, heart, soul, and psyche experience total interconnectedness and a true integration when you self-forget, when you remember that you are part of a greater unified consciousness. Oneness kind of sounds like, right? Moving from separation into connection, from self-centered limitation to spirit-centered infinite possibility and potential, you become busy as a bee, enjoying the gifts of spirit, fully in alignment with your highest expression of yourself. Your heart opens and creativity rushes through you, seemingly without effort, as you experience that nothing feels like work. Industriousness is driven by enthusiasm and inner motivation, and time seems to fly by quickly as the hive supports you in the making of honey. Do you feel the presence of your helpers in the hidden realms, adding their energy to your creations? Magical results are taking form and will be sweeter than you expect. Bee Spirit wants you to remember that your part in the divine partnership with conscious universe is being rewarded, even if you can't see that yet, and asks that you share your good fortune as there is plenty of honey for all. Be a part of the larger whole, the force that brings forth all that is sweet and delightful. That was a long one, but a very good one. B. And that was a collective guide for us for the week. I like that. I like that. Okay, was that you, Asa, telling me card readies? Yes, Mimi, my choice. Josh, my choice. And Ursula would like a galactic. Okay. And Allison wants a Woto. Okay, so let's see. Mimi. Mimi, I'm thinking an oracle of the 7 energies over here. So this is also a Colette Baron Reed deck, the 7 energies. And okay, so Mimi, this is for you. Sacred Reverence. Wow, that's a pretty card. Sacred Reverence. I know the light is kind of weird in here because it's dark outside today. Sacred Reverence, 2 hands coming together, forming a heart. It's card number 47, which is an 11. And we've got a key dangling right in the heart. Can you see that? The key. All right. Let's see what this one means. Sacred Reverence, 47. Okay. So Mimi, it says the key concepts are awe for the truth that spirit is everywhere, inspiration coming through you as a result of reverence, joyful living, exploring possibilities with curiosity, spiritual passion manifesting from the starting point at the realm of spirit. So let's take a look at the stories here. Looking at the world, do you see all of life or only a limited part? When you look at a blade of grass, do you see just a plant? When you encounter a puppy, do you see just an animal? While this categorizing is one way of viewing the world, it is only a fraction of the truth. It isn't enough. Look closer and you'll observe the luminosity immanent in these living sentient beings. If you can allow yourself to take in all the world, including its spirit, then you see the whole. Reverence is an act of deep witnessing, respect, and awe. You experience it when you perceive every being and everything, every plant, rock, and tree as sacred and alive. You naturally lean into a state of bliss and harmony and a profound sense of well-being. Whatever your dilemma or question, try to reframe your perspective to acknowledge the spiritual. If everything has value, including your most frustrating challenges, would you still ask your question from the same place? Can you regard the other as sacred, thereby erasing the separation between you? Embracing the perfection of how you came together is real magic, and you are tapping into this unity right now. No matter who or what is in front of you, see that person or thing as luminous and your interaction as holy. Then you will know what to do for the highest good of all. Wow, that kind of echoes the energies for the week in general, or at least the moon in Pisces. Okay, so after that was Josh, my choice. Josh, that one jumped out immediately as a galactic heritage card. Our galactic heritage cards are taking us into our star sisters and star brothers realms. Oh, flying out. Masculine principle of Lyra of the past. Card number 12, masculine principle. So 12 is a 3, so creative energy. Lyra of the past. This is, I think, the first time we've gotten that card. So let's see what that says for us. 12. All right. The ancient Lyran civilization is often described as reflecting the masculine principle. As the civilization grew, it moved out into the galaxy, settling planets, sometimes engaging in war, and seeking ways to perpetuate the species. They were the builders, protectors, and architects of a society. Both masculine and feminine principles exist within everyone. It is important that they remain in balance. This card asks you to work with your inner male energy. Listen to what it has to say and embrace it. This will help you to heal an old karmic pattern from the days of ancient Lyra, or Lyra, either one. Here's the commentary for you, Josh. Lyra was the first civilization that expressed polarity, setting the template for our exploration and healing of polarity for millennia afterward. One way they expressed polarity was through their masculine focus on external reality and in their attempts to manipulate physical reality according to their desires. Again, this could be a positive or negative expression depending on the intentions behind the actions. If you are getting this card, it is asking you to look at your inner and outer male-female balance. If you see where there is imbalance, work to bring those energies back into alignment. You may be acting from an old template from an ancient Lyran time that is ready to transform. Keep in mind that this is also the card of the warrior. In ancient times, you most likely had a lot of experience as a warrior and may still have those qualities within your nature. Look at how those qualities can be used constructively instead of destructively. There are always times when the warrior energy is useful. Attaining the mastery of a true warrior, even a spiritual one, means understanding when to use that energy for the greater good. If you need inspiration about what this really means, look to the ancient text of the Bhagavad Gita, and the teachings given to the warrior Arjuna by the great being Krishna. Wow. Wow, wow. That's a lot to sit with, isn't it? So that was for you, Josh. And after Josh was, I believe, Allison. No, Ursula. Ursula would like a galactic card, and then Allison wants a Woto. Okay, so Miss Ursula, let's see what galactic card you get. And then Irene, I've got time. We'll get that far. And Dusa, we'll get yours too. Okay. How funny. This is yours, Ursula, and it's card 28, which is kind of a mirror of where the sun is because it's primal fear. It's reptilian in nature, and it's a parallel universe. So 28, primal fear, reptilian. Did you get... Oh my gosh. Did you get my email that I sent you, Ursula, in answer to one of your emails to me over the weekend? Funny. Okay, so I'm sorry. That was That was pretty lame. But anyway, 28. Reptilian. Here we go. There are many reptilian beings within our galactic family, but few are hostile. However, because they seem ugly and alien, humans often project negative attributes on them. They represent the unprocessed and denied fears within us. These primal fears create illusion for the purpose of protection and survival, but these illusions are rarely based on reality. This card asks you to look deep within yourself for the fears that you have not yet faced. Know that they will continue to threaten you until you confront them, or until you confront, own, and finally embrace them as a valuable part of yourself. This is another archetypal card dealing with one of the most distasteful aspects of being human, fear. It has less to do with actual reptilian species for which there has been much misunderstanding and or negative disinformation propagated about them. This species is peace-loving, gentle, and very ancient. Those wishing to spread fear about this species recognize the powerful effect reptilian imagery has in the human subconscious. A small percentage of people who pick this card will have reincarnational ties to this species. If you feel this is for you to explore it further, if you feel this is you, explore it further. If this card comes up in your spread, it most likely asks you to go through a process of confronting your deepest fears, for only in doing so can you spiritually transform. The card asks you to embrace otherness, an idea or way of being that is different from your comfort level. In one way, this is a very shamanic card because by confronting those fears, a powerful force can be unleashed within your consciousness that can free you from many old habits and patterns, both in this life and coming from others. This card is a challenge for you. Can you walk into the unknown and face that which you fear the most? In the end, it's an awesome card, don't you think? As for all of us. I mean, I always think of these readings, even though I was reading that for Ursula, I'm resonating with it because I faced my own fear this last weekend. So maybe all of us are in some way facing some inner fear that maybe comes from someplace in the very deep past, right? That we don't even know why it is that we're afraid of something. Allison. And that over there. She would like a wisdom of the oracle. And Allison, loyal heart, card number 35. Two little owls staring back at one another. And this was actually upside down, so it was in protection. And it is card number 35, which makes it an 8, right? An 8 I always think of as the two hearts connected, right? Your heart, my heart, we're connected at the center where we're a mirror of one another. And let's see what this card means. I don't know that we've had this one in a long time. 35. All right. Loyal heart's essential meaning is fidelity, loyalty, devotion. And in protection message, it says, are you stubborn or overly tenacious about an idea? Or have you become so attached to something that you just don't know how to let it go? Could it be that it's become so much a part of you that you wouldn't know who you are without it? Now is the time to look at outdated beliefs, old ideas, and misplaced loyalties. Betrayal is only a signal that it is time to prune away all who don't deserve your trust and have no place in your life. Be new, think new, and open your heart to new things. Let go of the old and all your attachments. Spirit has awesome plans for you. Make some room. All of us, right? We're coming up to a full moon. We have to make room. Irene Alberg, your choice. Irene needs a dragon. Not second guessing myself anymore. It came to me right away. Dragon for Irene. And our dragons are huge symbols of power, taking back our power and remembering the truth of who we are. And for you, you get the green dragon that helps you tune in to the secrets of nature, receive answers and guidance from nature, align with your divine essence. There's the green dragon. All right, let's take a look at what that means, or further into what that means. The green dragon is probably a fifth dimension. Green, he's a fifth dimensional dragon, or she. All right. All answers lie within nature, and every single thing we need while on Earth is provided for us in the natural world. Fifth dimensional green dragons touch our psychic centers and help us to tune in to the sacred geometry in the trunks of trees, the petals of flowers, and the shells of snails, and everywhere in Master Pan's kingdom. These are the keys and the codes that bring us into tune with our divine essence. When we are fully aligned with our fifth dimensional blueprint, we are automatically whole and healed. Here's your guidance. The nature kingdom is a magical place in which all our answers are held for us. Luminous green dragons help us to read these answers. So if you can, sit quietly in nature, call a green dragon, and ask for guidance. The response may come to you consciously or unconsciously, so accept that something important has been activated within you, whether you are aware of it or not. You may feel the need to walk somewhere particular. If so, follow your impulse, for this means that your green dragon is guiding you. Keep your eyes and ears open, for the answer may come through a tree, a bird, an insect, animal, or something else entirely. Your green dragon will guide you in the direction to the answers you need. This calls for deep trust and an understanding that the divine plan is perfect. Drawing this card also suggests that you would benefit by spending more time in the green world. Your green dragon will be with you, so acknowledge it and let it touch you with its wisdom and great knowledge. Expect revelations or healing. Woo, Irene, that was awesome. All right, and lastly, we have Dusa. And I don't remember what you wanted. Your choice. Oh, Amy, D, I missed you. Sorry, Amy, I'll get you. So for Deus or Dusa, your choice. I'm getting dragon for you as well. And then Amy D, we'll do yours. All right, so this is for you, Dusa, a dragon. And sorry, I've got a card from a deck, not our deck, not this deck anyway, in there. Thor's red, black, and gold dragon protects you in times of change, a time of rapid transformation and transition. Relax, you are safe. So we have Thor's red, black, and gold dragon. Boy, that is quite the dragon. Okay, so let's see what this means for you. Do so. Thor. Okay, 76. He's also a fifth dimensional dragon. And it says, during this incredible period of transition, everything on our planet is changing rapidly. Thor's mighty red, black, and gold dragons work directly for Archangel Gabriel, the mighty archangel in overall command of fire, who sends them to any area or situation that needs immediate clearance. Thor is the god of thunder, the elemental master of fire, and his red, black, and gold dragons carry powerful energy. For the optimum use of this blazing power, they connect with Mars and its ascended aspect, Nigeli, so that they can act as peaceful spiritual warriors throughout the universe. Drawing this card indicates that you are ready to change a situation, circumstance, or relationship, or are already doing so. This is challenging for you, and the universe is reminding you that you have earned the right to receive support and assistance. Your guidance is to ask an army of Thor's dragons to clear the energies around you and protect you as you make this transformation. Then relax, knowing you are safe, guided, and supported. Thor's red, black, and gold dragons will ensure you make the changes in a way that is for the highest good of all concerned. These very hardworking warrior dragons consume dense energies very rapidly and thoroughly, and they come to you with dedication, love, and wisdom. So accept graciously what they have to offer you. This card is also a call to service. You are asked to send Thor's dragons to places and situations that need their protection at this time. Wow. Sounds like you have a job set out for you, Dusa. Sounds like it. And last was Amy D, and I believe she said to choose. And I'm thinking, Amy D, that you need a galactic card. So galactic it is. And that will be the last card reading of the day for today. And card number 50, abandonment, and it is Earth of the Past. So abandonment, Earth of the Past. This will be interesting, I'm sure, because we haven't received this card before. Card 50. All right. Okay, this is species often have karmic issues to clear as well as people. One of the main issues for humans to clear has to do with abandonment. When the ETs left Earth in the ancient days, the pain of that departure left humanity with scars of abandonment. Humanity felt as if it had no role models, no parents to guide it. Along with that abandonment, we experienced anger, sadness, and self-pity. But as we remember our place in the universe, these wounds can be healed. This card asks you to help humanity heal by remembering your universal connections and the fundamental truth: we are never alone. Commentary. While on the surface level, this card refers to the time in Earth's past when our ET forefathers left the planet and we felt very alone, it also refers to a very deep issue that serves as a wound for all beings in creation. This wound is discussed, this wound is discussed in many esoteric texts and is that of the original separation we experienced from the source. In a sense, it is that which drives us toward reintegration and wholeness once again. Probably more than any card in this deck, this card has many layers to it, and you will need to truthfully look at your life and your challenges in order to understand the message it is bringing to you. If you are consciously aware of pain regarding abandonment as a human in this life, or fear of it, this card implores you to heal that wound. On a deeper level, the message of the card may have to do with the original wound of the separation from source, resulting in feelings of loneliness, disconnection, guilt, low self-worth, and so forth. Take some time to explore this idea and see where it leads. Look to the other cards in your spread for hints or further insight. And when it says that, I think of looking at all of the cards that we've heard today as possible further clarity on what this card means for you. All right. So that was awesome. I'm glad I had the time to be able to do that. Don't forget, we have Bee Spirit with us all week as our collective humanity. And Bee Spirit said, sweet results await. All right, I think that is it for me today. Asa, thank you. She put up there, don't forget to please hit the thumbs up. And if you have not yet done so, please hit the subscribe button down below. And also there's a little bell next to it. If you want to be notified when I come on air live, then you can click on that as well. All right, everybody. I'm sending you all many blessings. I hope you all have a